And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by our other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it?
It goes very, very well, Rich. I'm feeling good about today's top story, and I don't want to step on it, but we're seeing a little bit of a trend here, so I don't want to let's get into it.
Let's dive right in, because you actually took the word right out of my mouth. I just earlier today recorded an episode of the Channel Pro Weekly podcast, another program I'm on, and we talked about this story a little bit, and I said, something happens once, it's an instance. When it happens 3 times in just a few months, it's a trend. And we are definitely seeing a trend right now in the industry where some of the bigger names in the vendor community and the distribution community are spending some money and acquiring MSP consultancies out there. So earlier in the year, we saw ConnectWise buy Service Leadership, which is Paul Dippel's company. Just last week, we learned that IT Glue has acquired True Methods, which is Gary Pica's company. So these are two of the biggest names in consulting with MSPs. And then this week we learned that Pax8, the cloud distributor, has acquired C-Level Operations. Now, if that name is not familiar to you, you might be more familiar with the name of the CEO of that company, the founder of that company. His name is Rex Frank. Another very well-known, prominent name in consulting with MSPs. Now, the thinking behind all 3 of these transactions, each one of them, it's a little bit different. In the case of Pax8 buying C-Level Operations, it ties right into a larger initiative at Pax8 where they are making investments in partner education. In the not-too-distant past, they introduced a site called Pax8 Academy. They've been doing one-to-many courses for their partners through that. They're going to continue doing that. Rex Frank and his team are going to contribute one-to-many courses to Pax8 Academy. And I should say, Rex, his new title is going to be Vice President of Pax8 Academy. He's going to run that part of the company going forward. But in addition to doing classes for Pax8 partners, he's going to be doing one-to-one coaching as well. And for a small sliver of the Pax8 partner base, he'll be doing value creation coaching, where he's really going to kind of get in under the covers a little bit and help these companies come up with and execute a plan for growing their value. So this is a serious investment by Pax8 in partner success. It's the kind of thing that we're seeing at some of these other companies that certainly played a role in IT Glue's decision, ConnectWise's decision. In the case of Pax8, and really for all of these companies, if the MSPs they are partnering with are successful, these vendors and distributors are successful as well. And one of the things that the Pax8 folks point out is that C-Level's clients, thanks to the consulting assistance they get from C-Level, they tend to be more mature companies. Mature companies make greater use of, sell more cloud solutions. And in fact, C-Level partners buy 2.5 times more cloud because it's just such a core part of how they do business once they've been tutored by Rex and his folks over there. So, these investments have ROI for companies like Pax8, ConnectWise, and Kaseya, and it's just an interesting thing to see so many companies realize that having a consultant of their own in-house can be a worthwhile investment.
Yep. Congrats to Rex and the team. Rex, another MSP pioneer, that has been around guiding and really, appreciating the personal gratification that comes with helping others build their businesses and succeed, and has come up with some very effective strategies and techniques to help those partners do so. And yes, you hit a critical term here. You said, Rich, the term partner success. And I think that is where we're seeing this trend now go, that, and I think it's an evolutionary and aspirational position for a large vendor to be in, when they have now established themselves to the point where they are investing in helping their existing partners succeed by acquiring these capabilities and this expertise that they don't have internally, right? That has been grown and developed and perfected outside of their core focus. So I think this, is an indicator of business maturity and focus when we move from, and of course every vendor wants to acquire new partners over time, but when we look at the strategies that shift to say, okay, we'll continue taking new partners, but now we're at a point where we can invest in another organization, tools, processes, expertise, vision to help our existing partner channels then grow and improve. I think that's just another level, and it really indicates something that partners are looking for. They're looking for more than just a vendor relationship. They're looking for strategies to help them grow and build their businesses. And hats off to C-Level and helping their partners sell 2.5 times more cloud services than a comparative MSP. They're doing a lot of things right, and I think that's definitely what Pax8 saw in them.
And you mentioned how much or the passion that Rex has for helping MSPs. He set a goal when he founded C-Level,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I never found out exactly why he came up with this number, but the goal when he founded the company was that he was going to impact in a positive way 3,300 MSPs, and he's 500 down the road towards that goal today. He's excited about this not only because he gets to run this Pax8 Academy operation, but also because he knows he's going to have more budget, more resource. He's going to be able to move towards that goal faster than he could before.
Yep. Great to have goals. And Rex is a great guy and has shared that goal, when you talk to him, just in general. So no, again, hats off, congrats to Pax8 and all the folks at C-Level.
Well, you know what, Eric? Given that Rex is a smart guy, I'll bet if you took a look at his social media profile, you would get a pretty good, solid sense for who he is and what he does. And
Mhm.
that is the lead in to your tip of the week.
It is. And the tip of the week this week is to optimize your social media profiles to better attract your prospects. And I'm having a little bit of a coaching engagement with a new sales professional for a client of mine. And the first thing that we're doing is looking at their LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn being kind of the preferred platform for business professionals in our industry, Rich. And this also kind of relates to other profiles that you're using for business, Facebook profiles, Twitter profiles, things like that. It's important that your LinkedIn profile doesn't simply look like a resume of your past work history. If you're really out there trying to attract and engage with prospects, your profile is gold when it's configured properly. And so I'm going to give a shout out to HubSpot for a blog post that I've been sending out to partners for the last several years that's out there. And if you search in your browser for HubSpot, optimize your LinkedIn profile, you will find this blog post. So I'm going to quickly just go through 9 tips that is in this blog post. And of course, that goes into detail on every single one of them. But think about this as you're marketing yourself as an industry expert or a thought leader that is here to help your prospects or clients and thereby creating this attraction. So without further ado, number 1, add a value proposition to your headline. So they're talking about not simply your title. And so many LinkedIn profiles, Rich, we see this is just kind of the title. And then you have to scroll down and kind of figure out, okay, what is that? What are their responsibilities? And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But, the HubSpot blog post says, don't just write your title, answer 2 questions. 1, who do you help? And number 2, how do you help them? So this is really critical. And the first thing that folks see in the LinkedIn profile are when they're looking and searching, right? That little headline that talks about, who you help and how you help them, right? So it's almost like a mini elevator pitch, and it's related to the elevator pitch. Also working with sales professionals on their elevator pitch It's something that can generate curiosity and get someone to ask, hmm, how do you do that? Right. So, for instance, an MSP or IT professional may see something like, oh, well, we help business owners increase their security and efficiency and profitability of their business through technology. How do you do that? Right. So, a little mystery there that wants to elicit a question. Number two, oh, use a professional profile photo. Folks, this isn't your aunt's Facebook profile, right? Where you've got, whatever filter and things like that and funny things. If you want to be seen as a professional and a thought leader and an expert, have a professional a profile photo that you're using. Include your contact information in the description. How can folks contact you? Add keywords to your summary that your prospects will search for. Right? If you're a security focused organization, you're going to drop in and those keywords in there so that they bubble up in the ranking when folks are searching through LinkedIn or whatever profile. Let's see. Display visual content in your summary. So I use on my profile, I have little videos that I've shot. I have, pictures, photos of events and things like that. So using visual things, I think they're talking more about, how some of these profiles have the little green check marks and something to visually break up that paragraph or summary of what folks are looking at. Number 6, provide detail in your experience section. So for certain, you want to make sure that you're indicating all of your training, all of your certifications, any kind of recognition that you've got. All of that adds an impression of trust and confidence when somebody engages with you. 7, I kind of stepped on this one. List honors and awards you've received. Right, so there's a separate section in LinkedIn for that. 8, share articles and blog posts you've written. So you see, this becomes a marketing platform now for you as you continue to build this up. And yes, best practices are to post articles and blog posts. I do that very often. And then 9, add any degrees, online courses, or certifications that you've achieved, things that you've passed that reflect your standing as someone that they can trust when you reach out to request a connection with them and begin that conversation.
And the common thread among all of those, these are not huge things. These are not mind bending or complicated. But if you are somebody like myself who quite honestly doesn't know a whole ton about social media, they're not necessarily obvious. And so you do enough of these small things, they can add up to a big impact. And the ROI basically on being visible and communicating clearly on social media generally, LinkedIn specifically, can be enormous.
Yeah, and the other thing too is ask, and one that I'll add is ask for and give recommendations. I've got 10 recommendations I think that folks have recognized me for that are, over 100 or 200 or 300 each, and that also adds some gravitas, to the profile. So, for a quick example of someone that's followed these steps and continues to try to tweak, take a look at my profile on LinkedIn. It's Eric Simpson, and you can find me there, and you can see some of these things actually in play. There's a lead magnet for prospects, and then once they find you, it's confirmation of your status and ability to help them based on not only what you've got there, but what others have said about you.
And you're not the only or the first person I know to say that if you do things right, it really can have a tangible impact on the business. Put a little time in, get the profile right, stay engaged on LinkedIn, folks, and based on the conversations I'm having with channel pros, it really can make a difference for you. That leaves us with time for just one more story this week. And, Eric, we're all kind of familiar with the public service announcements where we're told if you're going to be doing some digging in the yard, dial 411 or whatever it is. You don't want to hit a gas main, sever a phone line, or something like that. Here's a story about somebody who should have maybe contacted the officials, didn't, and wound up shrinking the nation of France. Now, how could this happen? Well, this was a farmer in Belgium who, there was this big stone out in the yard. It had been in this guy's way forever when he was out trying to plow his field, and he just decided, I'm moving it. Turns out that stone marker had been in place since approximately 1820. It was part of a treaty that goes back to Napoleonic times, defining the border between France and Belgium. And by virtue of moving it, he moved the border 7.5 feet. I'm just guessing it's going to be moved back at this point, but just one more reason: dial 411, people.
Yeah, these pesky boundaries between countries. Holy cow, it's in the way of my mowing.
Well, folks, that is all the time we've got this week. Thank you so much for joining us. The 5 Minute Roundup is both a video and a podcast. If you're watching the video right now, hey, why not become a subscriber to the podcast as well? You will find us officially, as of this week, pretty much anywhere podcasts are distributed: Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it. Go ahead, become a subscriber. You know what? If you like the show, go ahead, give us that coveted 5-star rating on your catcher of choice. That will help your friends and your peers find the program a little bit more easily. If you're listening to the podcast, hey, you can check us out on video. We are on YouTube, and best place to find us, easiest, is to go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Become a subscriber there. If you click the little bell icon, you're actually going to get notified when the new episodes go up. You want to read more about Pax8 buying C-level operations, get all sorts of great business growth advice for your company, find out what's happening in the industry, go to channelpronetwork.com every day. We've got awesome new content for you there every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, your destination should be ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Again, folks, thank you very much for joining us. We are going to be back again next week with another episode of the show. Until then, though, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.
Already.